There we go.
Hello, everyone. This is Chris Hewitt, and we are on Livelihood News. It is Friday, May 21st. Oh, no, it's the 22nd. And I'm here with the founders of Masks for People, Kristen Dodge and Laleh. How's it going today?
Good. Thanks for having us.
Yeah, thank you.
Pleasure. Both of you and your organization was featured in our Livelihood magazine recently, which is distributed to 25,000 readers in Ulster, Dutchess, and Columbia counties every month. We talked about Circle Creative Collective and their Ulster County Mask Initiative and how so many people are working together. Can you tell us how you two met each other and what led to this Masks for People?
Was on Tinder. I'm just kidding. Laleh and I first met because she came into my gallery, September Gallery in Hudson. And then shortly thereafter, within a year, we were representing her at the gallery. So we've worked together professionally before, but Laleh could tell you about how we started doing Masks for People.
Beautiful.
Yeah, it was about, I think mid-February that Kristen had approached me about making some masks for her mother's caregivers who had not received their masks that they had bought. It was pretty early on in the game, and so because I also have a clothing and work with textiles as well, I had sewing stuff and equipment, and so I started making prototypes for cloth masks for that reason. And then I just had put so much work into it that it just made a lot of sense to keep doing it and start providing it for the community, because it was about early March at that time, and we just foresaw the need, approaching. And then everything very, very quickly sped up, and she said, you know what, like this should, the medical, the frontline workers in the medical community have a really high need. We should really get organized and be able to distribute. And so we very quickly made a team, and just it very rapidly came together that we were supplying masks, by the bulk in our, for the small group that we were.
That's awesome. So your
growing group.
Your team was both mask makers and distribution people, or is? I mean,
We've got organizers, volunteers, shop support, seamsters, delivery people, runners, which is kind of similar, people helping to manage our social media with us. Basically everything. We've got probably 20 to 25 people at a given time that are helping to support us. So
I just love how the community is coming together, and a purpose of Livelihood magazine. It's been a newspaper since 2010. It used to be called Country Wisdom News when it launched in 2010. And 3 years ago, it became part of the Hudson Valley Current, and we changed the name to Livelihood. So HudsonValleyCurrent.org is our parent nonprofit. And we also have SatisfyHunger.org and LiveelihoodMagazine.org. And in Livelihood, we always cover good news about keeping money local, strengthening main streets. And also the third component that I love is revealing and sharing abundance. And I feel like right now during COVID, we're seeing how people come together, support each other, and our creativity, like your past relationship led to this new relationship. So I love the way we can be innovative and creative together. And it's very inspiring. Do you see that in your communities? You're in Catskill, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
So,
is in Catskill, and Laleh lives in Catskill. That's kind of the hub of our operations. But I mean, Laleh, we were looking for anyone that would be interested in helping, and it ended up being mostly artists because that's our community. But I think artists have the ability to pivot and think creatively and respond quickly in unusual ways. And that's been, I think, hugely beneficial for us. And the kinds of people that we're working with as we're creating this thing, there's no blueprint. We're just kind of figuring it out as it goes. The need is shifting. and are constantly readjusting to that need and changing operations to meet the changing landscape. So, but yeah, I'd say a lot of artists.
That's wonderful. That was actually my next question about how you have a team of artists working on this, and I think it's also interesting how creative people come together on main streets throughout the world, throughout the country, and suddenly that main street takes off, like in Kingston or Hudson or Catskill. Do you have any thoughts about why that happens when artists arrive? Suddenly things change. And I can adjust the question too. My friend, if you want to buy real estate, follow the artists.
Yeah, it's true. I think artists make beautiful spaces and they work with very little means a lot of the time, unfortunately. And so you figure out how to do something interesting in a way that others may not have thought of. So yeah, I mean, they enhance the real estate market literally.
Yeah, nice. And are you both from the Hudson Valley?
No, not at all. I mean, I'm born in Iran and raised in Florida and lived all over the place. And the last 8 years have been in the Hudson Valley. So I've lived in Catskill for about 8 years. And I think a lot of the other people who are part of the team, yeah, it was just the network was already there. And some of the people who I brought on initially, you know, were not necessarily, they were just people I knew who could sew or who were like textile related in there. And everyone is really just, it just worked out. Everyone was so dedicated and so enthusiastic and willing and professional, you know, to put in the time the way that they did. And to go back to just the one thing about the community, I'm completely floored by how like this town is come together. You know, the Catskill Mutual Aid and people who have just done so much to support one another and to support without even knowing one another. You know, a lot of people don't even know, but they just connected. And it's not like everyone's isolated doing their own thing. It's like people are really working together, which I'm really super proud and happy about.
Yeah. And Kristen, is the effort still going strong now, or do you think the demand is starting to become filled?
Well, the landscape's changed. And at this point the Navajo Nation, I connected with a guy that works there and is managing all contributions to the Navajo Nation, and they need thousands of masks. So we are fundraising, and the reason why we give our masks out for free the reason why we're able to is because we are raising funds to do so. And initially, our efforts and the need was more focused on hospitals and healthcare facilities. And that was the obvious and clear sort of highest best use of our masks early on. We're talking like mid-March. And now we're not providing masks to hospitals. There are a few, but for the most part, they're receiving the help that they need, which is great. Elsewhere, maybe the government is stepping in. So now it's mostly organizations and individuals that we ascertain have the greatest need. So there's a process in kind of figuring that out. And some of it is receiving requests and some of it is doing outreach. And yeah, right now I would say the Navajo Nation is our primary focus, but that is at the same time as probably 4 or 5 other organizations that we're taking orders from. So
on an ongoing basis.
That's great. And if somebody wanted to donate to your campaign, where would they go?
masksforpeople.net.
Great.
There's a button right there where they can donate, or if they want to send a check, there's the address and pretty easy to follow. And so now we do have fiscal sponsorship from the Greene County Council of the Arts. So the donations are tax deductible.
Wonderful.
It was huge. It was originally, we were receiving donations from individuals, and now we're able to receive donations from foundations. So that's made a big difference for us in this third round of fundraising, which has been harder because there are just more masks out there. And well, for whatever the reasons are, it's been more difficult. I think people are getting hit up a lot to support a lot of different organizations at this time. So we're probably in greater competition.
Yeah. Well, very exciting to hear about. Definitely a worthy cause. And one thing we've seen is because we're involved in exchange and currency with our local currency, Hudson Valley Current, our nonprofit is called Hudson Valley Current, and our community currency is called the Current. One current is worth $1. And so this market that we're sitting in right now is going to be opening in July, and we're going to have all of our offerings of currents available in our market, 628 on Broadway in Kingston on the corner of O'Neill. And we're going to have it as an educational center in addition to a market because we're a nonprofit. So we're going to teach people about community currencies, time banking, and mutual aid. And this period of time has made me realize, and our whole organization realize, it's about all of the forms of exchange and all of the forms of capital that we can exchange. And what we're finding is local production is key to our resilience and our community's future success and abundance. So I'm very inspired by all of your work, and I hope we can continue to work together. Another guest that we have at 2:15 is Mariel Fiori, the publisher of La Voz magazine out of Bard College. She also is the host of La Voz Radio on Radio Kingston. But we still have a couple of minutes with Laleh and Kristen. And I'm just going to share my screen real quick and show you a way that you can, well, it's not working right now, but the handle to check out social media for Masks for People is @masks4people with the number 4. And what's next, would you say, for Masks for People and Hudson Arts Community Instagram?
Well, all I can say is quickly about the Hudson Arts Community Instagram is just for the day. And we've done our process pictures and videos. And now we're just, I think the rest of the day is going to be goofy, fun pictures and videos and kind of the real vibe in there. And then I'll let Kristen take over the other the answer.
I don't remember the question, but we definitely try to keep a sense of humor. This time has been very dark and difficult for all of us. And I think part of our strength is that we've stayed connected to each other and worked well as a team and maintained our sense of humor. So
wonderful.
I hope that we're all able to do that.
Great. Well, my friend Mariel just joined us. Mariel, this is Kristen and Laleh, and they are with Masks for People. And Mariel often has people come onto her show to talk about their projects, La Voz Radio on Radio Kingston. So maybe I can connect both of your organizations.
Yay!
That's my mask. I made this one. It took forever, but I did.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Part of our show and part of the Hudson Valley is to help everyone collaborate and inspire us all to work together as a community. So we'll definitely connect both of your organizations. So maybe you can work together in the future.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome, Catskill.
Thank you.
Look forward to it.
Thanks, Chris.
Hey, Mariel.
Hola. ¿Español? ¿Lo hacemos en español, Chris?
Sí, un poco
Okay.
porque pienso que muchas personas en esto llamar no comprenden español.
Ajá.
¿Verdad
Pero sí, tu español es bueno. Así lento van a entender.
Entonces, estudio en Duolingo todos los días.
Muy bien. Wow. Perfecto. Duolingo. Perfecto.
So just tell everyone, hello, how are you, my friend?
And that's it.
I've been studying my Spanish on Duolingo. I
Yeah.
think day 150, and I just started getting into the future tense and past tense, which I struggled with in the past.
Okay. Mhm.
So hopefully someday we'll be able to talk the whole time in Spanish.
Yeah, you're doing good. You just need to practice so you can catch up some speed, but it was good.
Nice, thank you. Well, we work now with Sonia Narvaez, who you met. She used to be my Spanish teacher 2 years ago, and also,
Yeah.
and now she's on our team full time as our director of operations. So sometimes she and I break into Spanish.
Excellent. Congratulations.
Thank you. And this is Mariel Fiori. She's the publisher of La Voz magazine, which has been published out of Bard College since when, Mariel?
Since 2004, we're in our 16th year this year, Sweet 16 or weird Sweet 16. You know, this year is amazing. I don't have words to describe what's happening. Everyone knows. So, but yeah, this is the 16th year.
Did you have a quinceañera last year?
We did several things. We did the way that we like to fundraise is through cultural events. So we don't fundraise too much. We get some funds, but not as much as an official gala. But we did have a theater play called Cumbia de mi Corazón, part of a trilogy that the playwright lives in the area, and he likes La Voz so much that he gave us all the rights so we could bring it here, and we only need to pay for the actors and stuff. So it was a nice event, and all in Spanish, and so I like that as well. And we have a screen where we had all the subtitles in English, so people could also follow the play like that.
That's
projecting the subtitles. Yeah.
So our audience knows Mariel. I think I mentioned it earlier in the show. Mariel is also the DJ on La Voz Radio, on Radio Kingston.
And La Voz, this is La Voz magazine. So La Voz magazine started in, as I mentioned, 2004. It's based at Bard College, and we print 6,000 copies every month and distribute throughout different counties in the area. And since 3 years ago, I've been working at Radio Kingston doing La Voz, and now since June, I'm doing La Voz con Mariel Fiori from this same spot.
Are you at the station now?
This is my station since March 16. I'm in an undisclosed location at my home. Yeah, the media is considered essential work. But at the station, we are about 12 full-time employees and a lot of freelancers and people that come and go all the time. And maybe in a day, 100 different people can show. So it was a decision from our executive director to that's Jimmy Buff, not to have so many people at the station to reduce the risk. So there are only 5 people that are allowed, 5 or 6, I think, that are allowed to be at the station all the time, and I'm not allowed, which is fine. It's fine. So this way we are helping, we are protecting, saving each other.
Great. You're still on the air on a daily basis?
I'm going air on a daily basis from this my radio studio. Yeah, it's the remote studio. I think that we are very fortunate to have technology right now in the middle of the pandemic, because technology is helping us a lot. And I can continue to do the show in a safe manner. People can get the news, the information. I hope that is useful for our listeners as well.
Yeah, my show was postponed. We had the LIVElihood news show for a half hour as part of Jimmy Buff Loves You, and postponed because so many small shows I guess weren't feasible to do during COVID, but it inspired us to do a weekly hour now on Friday.
This is great. Yeah, you see, like, life gives you lemons. I see that we are getting, and also that creativity is what inspires, I guess, the Hudson Valley Current, right? Like, you see a problem and you find a creative way around it to solve it.
That's right, and that's part of what we're talking about today, how you've been an early adopter of the Hudson Valley Current, as you've been currents for a couple or a few years now, and pay some of your writers with currents. And now that we are opening our market, and we've pivoted as well with our digital resilience market, we're delivering groceries and products every Wednesday and Friday to Ulster, Dutchess, and Columbia counties.
That's amazing. One of my writers actually used her currents with food that she got delivered to her doorstep. It was, I think, she told me, it was a lasagna, Mariel. That was the best lasagna I ever eaten. She took photos. She even liked the coffee you sent, the democracy coffee. I think she ordered groceries, and she was like, even the coffee has a message because it's called democracy coffee, and it explains how it's traded. So she's a total believer, and she loved it. That, and what also she liked a lot, you know, she's at home with her husband who has different, you know, difficulties because of this disease. So they are, this totally enlightened their day, livened their day. And I hope she sends you a letter, because I said you should send this letter to Chris. There's so much work that is going on behind the scenes, so much love. And that's the thing she saw the love. She mentioned that there was a couple of people that did the delivery to her home. I don't know exactly who in your team, but 2 young people came in and smiled at her from a distance. Even they were using all safety measures. She felt that love, and they, you know, all these little details is what make us, you know, a little happier, because we need to find happiness in little details. So she was very happy, and so I wanted to share this with you and your listeners.
Well, this testimonial itself just makes me feel wonderful, because we,
Yeah.
in order for the current to work for our community during this economic crisis. And that's the point of the current, since we've started it 7 years ago. And when someone like you embraced it early on, you helped prove to the community that this is feasible. And you helped get it moving by accepting currents when somebody buys an ad from you, like in your publication, and then paying your writers. I had writers text me from the Kingston Farmers Market last Saturday. It's working.
At the Kingston Farmers Market. Oh, that's good to know. I let the other writers are using it as well, but this was the first testimonial that they were super excited. So I wanted to share it with you.
Thank you. Yeah, we have a booth for Satisfy Hunger at the farmers market now, so we're selling things that you've been eating at our weekly lunches.
Okay.
We created that lasagna that you just mentioned, and she meals for the Kingston Farmers Market, but because of our nonprofit component around food, we're bringing meals to give away at the market also, so we're paying it forward.
So tell me more about that food. So can we, if we go to the farmer's market to buy, can we pay for the lasagna with dollars, or it has only to be paid with currents?
We take dollars if we have to, but we prefer currents.
Okay, great. Good to know.
And that's partly why we started the catering company, and why we have a publication. As I mentioned earlier, our 3 primary projects are HudsonValleyCurrent.org, SatisfyHunger.org, and LIVElihoodMagazine.org. And while we're telling people about websites, can you share yours with us?
Sure. Well, La Voz magazine is La Voz, LAVOZ, .bard.edu. So lavoz.bard.edu. As I mentioned, we are based at Bard College. That's for La Voz magazine. For the Radio Kingston show, you just go to Radio Kingston and you find it there. We have a very active group on Facebook with my show, La Voz con Mariel Fiori. So you can find it on Facebook. La Voz con Mariel Fiori is a page, a Facebook page, and a group. And so a lot of the things that we mentioned on the show, like giving links out like we are doing right now, or people giving a phone number, or whatever events or activities are happening that are mentioned during the show, we publish them there. But also people come and publish their own stuff. So it's, as I say, it's a very active group we have right there.
Wonderful. I've heard you say sometimes that it's the only Spanish-speaking publication in the region. Is that still true?
Well, La Voz magazine is the only print publication in Spanish. We started in 2004. In 2004 as a monthly publication. At that point, when we started, like in between, sometimes during 2004, there was another publication that started called Las Noticias out of the Daily Freeman. That was, I think, live until 2014. But that was a weekly newspaper. The editor was Antonio Flores Lobos, my colleague also at Radio Kingston. But that closed down in 2014. So since then, we're the only only publication. Before we were the only monthly as opposed to a weekly, but now it's the only print publication. There is another publication online in our area called ABC Latino. I don't know if you've ever seen it. It comes out of Poughkeepsie, but it's a bilingual publication. So and it's not print, it's just online. So as I said, we are the only print, and that takes a lot of work because we have to distribute it throughout the area. It's free, it's a free publication, so it's the cost of distributing and printing, you know, all of those details that make life interesting.
Actually, if you can stay on with us for even 15 minutes to a half hour, I want to talk about some of our sponsors.
Sure.
At 2:30, we're going to have our Director of Member Engagement, David, hop on the call with us.
Oh, sounds good.
And so, yeah, we actually became a little bit more digital for COVID because of how no one was picking up papers. Did you change your print? We had to shift.
Yeah.
We went to newsletter format, which is 1117.
It sounds interesting. Yeah, and it's a specific what you need.
Yeah, and we have
and then you
on the back. And so we've been putting this in our food distribution bags.
Very good idea. So yeah, this is how you adapt and find creative ways of changing when you need to. Crises are opportunities. So in Lavos, at Lavos Magazine, we partner with the River Newsroom and also my show and another publication. And so they are sending us everyday news in English that have to do with whatever is going on COVID-19 in New York State and our Hudson Valley region, the counties that we cover. So at Lavos office, we are translating all the materials every day. And there is a site in our webpage that is dedicated to COVID-19. So now Lavos, as I say, is print monthly, but there are updates daily on our website. So it's lavos.edu/COVID-19. So you can find, or you can just go to a homepage and click on COVID-19. So we are updating every day everything that is happening and what the River Newsrooms usually doing is called aggregating news from all different sources locally. So not just the New York Times, a lot of local papers and stuff. So that's one thing we're doing to adapt. Another thing, La Voz con Mariel Fiori, my show, since the beginning, we started saying, okay, right now we're day 71 of COVID-19 in Kingston, since the schools on March 13, they closed down because they wanted to clean up. There was the first case in Kingston. So since March 13, we had our first COVID case in Kingston. So that's how I'm counting the days. And so every show is devoted to something that has to do with COVID-19 from these different perspectives, different angles. So we do business, we do family, we do culture, politics, of course, health. And then what else? Every day at 5:45 on Radio Kingston, Jimmy Buff extended his show because, everything has changed. There's only 5-6 people allowed on the station. And some shows are coming back, but coming back like this, remotely. No one is getting inside the station right now. So it all depends on technology and what not. But at 5:45 from Monday to Friday, I give an update in Spanish about COVID-19. So I prepare a lot for that. And what else? So in terms of distribution of La Voz, the same thing that happened to you. We don't have the typical places where we distribute are closed down, and restaurants, or even if they're not closed, the access is reduced. So we are partnering with a lot of people that are doing food distributions, particularly for Spanish-speaking communities in Ulster, Dutchess, Orange, Sullivan. So we are bringing boxes of magazines to all those places. So we're good on that front, hopefully. We are finding alternative ways, but they are out there. And the good thing, we've been doing this for 16 years. People know us. It's not like, oh, you are calling me, who are you? No, there's already a relationship. It's already a community and publication based in the community.
Beautiful. I got a package from you with 30 or 40 publications in there. So
great. Excellent.
Pass them out to my
friends.
For the Hudson Valley Current in there, it says La Moneda para la Comunidad.
Perfecto.
We are.
I think I saw something like that. Let me check. I have La Voz in here. I think I saw that. Where is that? I'm just going through the pages.
It was about.
There it is. It's in Spanish, right?
No. That's
Una
awesome.
moneda local para la comunidad. There you are.
At 2:30, in just a moment, we're going to have our Director of Member Engagement, David Kagan, hop on with us. And
Sounds
what
good.
that has improved since we made an adjustment. It's funny that you have a COVID timeline.
Mhm.
Started March 10th. Ours started March 10th because that's when we hit our emergency red button that we built into the
Mhm.
economic resilience plan.
Yeah.
We have
Mhm.
funding to create an economic resilience plan that will become a workbook and curriculum by next year of
Excellent.
how to create a community currency anywhere in the world. And something like a publication is crucial. A catering company, farms, all of these things. It's not just about the currency. It's about
Yeah.
Livelihood has been publishing information about changing our mindset and a paradigm about community exchange. And so David's shifted into a position called a Director of Member Engagement starting during COVID, because the membership, resilience is about relationships. And so David is
Mhm.
day by day, hour by hour with each member. And thanks for joining us, David. Great to see you.
Likewise. It's nice to see you, Mariel. I remember you from the weekly lunches.
Yeah, we miss them.
Yeah, me too. Me too. And you look like you're right there in Radio Kingston with the big sign on right behind you.
Yeah. Well, you know, when they say that we have to go home, I say, well, but if I'm going to do the show from home, I need to have some props. So they gave me this prop. This is a banner that we usually have for events, but we are not having events, so no one is using it, and I am. So things turn out okay at the end.
Yeah. All happening with
Yeah.
Zoom.
Come over and do all your
Mhm.
stuff.
Yeah.
Um,
Say that again?
did Kale come by to set up all of your sound, or you set up your sound?
No, 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 no. They are not exchange. They gave me they gave me the equipment, so I know how to. I knew how to use it before for remotes. When we started the show first, Lavos, we started with Antonio Flores Lobos. It was 2 hours every day from Monday to Friday. We started in January 2018. I think March that year, I went to Miami to cover a conference about a Hispanic radio conference. Because I was covering it, I took the Comrex with me, which is the piece of equipment they have at the station for this. The audio is fantastic. Time to time, something, oh, I forgot this. Okay, and he explains to me, but yeah, we don't have to see each other, or this social distance, or the solidarity space, as we like to call it.
That's nice. And David, before you hopped on, I was saying how Mariel has been an early adopter.
Mhm.
Am I freezing, or was that just Mariel, David?
It was just
That's
Mariel.
me.
Okay. So I was saying how, as an early adopter of the current, she's helped the circulation move. And now that almost 700,000 currents have been exchanged, we really need to create relationships and analyze ecosystems, bring people together like our weekly lunches. Because you got to see Mariel almost every week at our lunches, would you mind telling her about our new orientation kit that we're putting together for everybody?
Sure.
Ooh,
Mariel,
me
so
more.
nice to hear you talk, and you certainly have, after 16 years of being on the radio, you look very comfortable.
Thank you.
So we're putting together an onboarding packet, which is going to sort of explain the whole operation, how to do it, and it's actually so super simple. And I'm thrilled to be working now as Director of Member Engagement, so I can just work full-time answering people's questions and getting on the phone. But we're going to have a packet that will come along with the onboarding packet that will describe, who we are, all the different parts that we are, the Hudson Valley Current, Livelihood, Satisfy Hunger. We will, how the current works, what alternative currency is. We're going to make it a really friendly, we're going to have lots of pictures and diagrams, and it's going to be a lot of fun. So we're putting that together right now. It's going to be a few pages. And we sending it out to folks as they sign up.
And one of one of the components that we've had before is a short video about how to download the app, for example, and
Okay.
go to the App Store, find this thing that was called Cyclos. And I think you have the app, Mariel. But now, starting next week, we've upgraded all of our software. We've upgraded our market, our ability to get people products and services with currents. And next week, you'll be able to go to the App Store and search by current. And as a member, you'll get emails about this. But
Excellent.
it'll be a brand new app.
I'm getting the scoop.
Yes, you are. That's the benefit of this show. So, yeah, so we'll have our logo on the app, and you'll go straight to Hudson Valley Current, which cost us a lot of money because we were originally using the nonprofit version of the software for the first 6 years. And it's a password protected, encrypted software that is built for barter exchanges. And so as a publisher, you know, people love bartering for advertising. And so that's in a way what got me into my interest in a community currency. The IRS calls this a barter exchange. So we earn credits and then we spend them with a writer or a graphic designer. We paid a lot of currents to upgrade our website recently. So it's interesting to work with a partner like you and have David now in a position where you can reach out anytime and say, Chris, I have a writer who has 100 currents. What can we do with this? And do you have any questions for us right now about the current itself? And do you have any more clarity since COVID about why we've created it?
Oh, these are two great questions. Actually, the fact that we have COVID-19 and things are upside down, you know, it was something that we needed. I think that I think since I was a little girl, I learned about environmental distress and global warming and all the things that we as human beings who supposedly are, you know, we're also animals, we're also part of the ecosystem, but we forgot about it. And we did so much damage that, and all the time people keep saying, oh, we need to do this. No one is doing anything, or we are doing, but at a very low scale. Now, thanks to the pandemic, we really need to focus on finding solutions, because this is it. It's the end of the human species as we know it, basically. You know, we are having parasites for so long. So now we have to really think how we are going to move forward. And focusing on local economies like you are doing, I think that's the way, that's the path forward. We don't need big companies, we need strong local economies. And I think that this is what the Hudson Valley Current is contributing to.
Beautiful. Yeah.
You know, Mariel, you mentioned before how technology, you know, the positive effect of technology on this crisis, and how different this has been than other crises in the past or pandemics in the past. And I certainly feel that way. And I think with radio stations like Radio Kingston, with Lavos, with people that are using the technology and getting the word out there, and the way that the Hudson Valley Current is working at the grassroots to connect the people and to give them a chance to speak their own message and to connect. And there's so many different ways that we can connect on the internet. And there's, I mean, the Zoom is just going crazy, but it's, you know, there's so many connections that are happening right now that we're not even aware of. There's millions and billions of people that are starting to pass this word. And so that's why I'm hopeful. And of course, I'm just working here in the Hudson Valley, and I even love the fact that I'm working at home, even though, you know, I love working with staff. I love that interchange. I love the constant back and forth. And yet here I am at home. I just had lunch an hour ago, and I'm sitting at my desk, and I can look out and see my little garden.
Yeah,
and
well, not everyone has that time, you know, like
true.
I have two little children at home, and my husband is also working. So, you know, it's getting a toll on my mental health. I think, you know, totally honest, this is too much. We don't have the teachers. They are very nice. They keep, and everything is new for everyone. They keep sending homework for my 7-year-old, and now I got her a laptop to work while she was learning how to do her handwriting better. Now she has to type things up. Doesn't make any sense if she does any of that, because who is gonna be helping her? I'm not a teacher and I don't have the time to do it. My husband the same with the 4-year-old. So when we see that, I say nothing is working perfectly. And, you know, I do agree that I like to work from home if no one else is around me, but it's not the case. It's not the case.
Yeah. Well, my
so-
kids are 19 and
Mhm.
15 and,
Yes.
you know,
Yeah.
so it's a little bit different.
Being a working mom right now is terrible because it's a working mom and a teacher. So 3 jobs, forget it. You know, like I'm quitting one of them. And I don't know which one because we need the money. So we'll see. I think I just quit being a teacher.
Kids are 15 and 17, and I brought my son to paint. We're making it.
Excellent. Good for you. Good. Yeah, that's very productive. My kids are doing productive things as well, but not, you know, whatever is sent via school that you have to do this or that. No.
Yeah. And it is obviously it's a very serious situation. There are people that are putting their lives on the line in a way that I'm not. And so I'm one of the lucky ones that gets to work at home and gets to keep working. And it's busy and it's hectic and it's scary and it's all those things. But I'm still hopeful.
Yeah. That's what we need. We need that.
You're both considered essential workers. We are, because we're running a digital resilience market. We're delivering groceries every Wednesday and Friday. I could show you around the store maybe for about 30 seconds, but
Sure.
I want to you, one of our sponsors, or actually someone we're helping to sponsor, is Kingston Frontline. It's the and it's called the Mental Health Hotline. And we just had a conversation yesterday. Like,
excellent.
call it the Mental Health Hotline. It could be if you're stressed. It could be if you just need to chat with someone. So it's 1-844-4FRNTLN, like frontline, but abbreviated. So
Thank you.
Feel free to look into that. And there's someone with at all times right now, which is great. So I just wanted to mention, Mariel, that we're creating something called the Community Protection Plan. And David will be very busy soon because we'll be enrolling a variety of organizations, nonprofits, for-profits, and we're hoping, and it's looking good, for municipalities to also start using currents to stabilize our economy. This is part of our economic resilience plan, and we are going to be working with 10 nonprofits. Is Lavos nonprofit?
It's part of Bard College.
Nice. Well, maybe you'd be one of the 10 that we participate with. And
we need to talk about it, sure.
The idea is similar to the Paycheck Protection Program or plan that helped people keep payroll stable. It was a federal protection plan as part of the CARES Act. And, employers who got the funding have been able to will be able to turn the loans from the Small Business Association into grants if they use it on payroll. So we're creating something called the Community Protection Plan because we believe the current has a rare and amazing opportunity to demonstrate how community currencies throughout history have stabilized economies. And so we're going to work with 10 nonprofits to get a 10,000 current line of trust, is what we call it. And it's an interest-free line of credit, but we call it line of trust because it's the community's trust in each of us as a member that allows us to go below zero like that. It's
sounds interesting.
Yeah, and so you can use those currents on writers, let's say, or paying yourself. I get 25% of my salary in currents, and I'm now shopping every week at our resilience market and at Hawthorne Valley Market doing my grocery shopping. So it's gotten the circulation of currents really stimulated. And David, in about 30 seconds, can you tell us about the resilience market and how it's getting the current flowing?
Sure. I first just wanted to mention that I think one thing that makes us unique, the Hudson Valley Current, is our reaching out to the nonprofit sector. There are a lot of currencies that have been especially popular in times of economic downturn, and people have used those currencies as a way to access credit. And we're certainly doing that, and we're offering people credit that they can use that's interest-free. So this is, there's no usury. We're just offering credit as part of their involvement in this community. You just opening up an account. But we're also reaching out to nonprofits like you. I mean, you're an active member of our community. You're coming to lunches, you're sharing your story, we're all sitting together at the table. And we're tying the nonprofits together because we're the folks that are spending our days trying to help our communities, and to tie them together, I think is a very powerful thing.
Yeah.
Chris, what was your question again? I'm sorry.
Our structure is paying it forward. And so everyone who buys from the resilience market has an option to pay 13 currents forward to somebody's meal. And so we've been able to not only provide over 1,200 meals to Ulster County's Project Resilience, but we're now bringing meals every week to the Kingston Farmers Market. We're delivering groceries to families who call us and have a need, because the generosity of our existing membership has allowed us to afford that. And now with our new bills that just came out, Mariel,
Oh, I love it. I like it a lot.
you saw the old version.
What's the name? Is it like, what's the name of this lizard?
One second. We're at the heart of here at Broadway and O'Neill at our new market.
Excellent.
And so that lizard is a blue-tailed skink, and the idea of the native animal, and then is their habitat. So they live in the rocks, and the silhouette is what they eat. So there's the habitat and diet. And then we have the foil seals and extra security features on all of our bills. So David is a teller machine, and soon you'll all be able to come to 30 Broadway or 628 Broadway to withdraw cash currents.
Yes, I'm very much looking forward to it. As Chris said, I'm the human teller machine, so I'm like an arm teller machine, but I'm handing out paper currency. And it's all part of our push to let people know that this is a human economy, and this is people with people. It's not just going against some brick facade and taking out cash. So that's going to be a lot of fun. And the digital resilience market is so super simple. I just wanted to mention, there's no credit card, folks. You're just using your accounts with currents, and you place items in the shopping cart, and then when you check out, you just put your name and your address. We know that you have an account, and you give us permission to transfer currents, and we take care of all that to you. We're delivering food to your door. As Chris mentioned, we have prepared foods. We've got grocery items, frozen foods, refrigerated foods. And we're delivering in Dutchess, Columbia, and Ulster County. And
that's so good to know, because on Saturday I'm going to a Kingston Farmers Market, so I'm going to look for your stand, for your booth.
Terrific. Yes, good.
If people go to hudsonvalleycurrent.org, they can order a pack of 50 currents if they're a current member. You can't buy currents with dollars. You have to earn them by selling a good or a service.
Oh, wow.
Member,
We'll see. We'll see how we get those currents to buy. Now I want to buy those.
Mariel, and just place an order for those, and we'll process it and make the payment for you. So if anyone wants to sign up, you can go to hudsonvalleycurrent.org, and if you click join us, you'll make an appointment with David. David will walk you through our new orientation steps, get you going, and you get an interest-free line of credit of 300 currents to get you going. You can order from the market right away if you'd like, or you can start earning currents right away.
So okay, I'm gonna put on my journalist hat here. Who is paying for all of this? How can you give 300 currents away like that to every person?
Well, we're not actually giving them away. It's a line of credit, and it's based on the way back when the U.S. dollar was based on gold, and of course gold it's no longer based in gold. It's based on this idea of the banks and the strength of the nation, of the government. But ours is based on the strength of the community. And so we're not giving the currents away. We're simply offering a line of credit, and some people, they can spend 20 currents and then they can earn them back from someone else. So it's not giving anything away. It's just us working together.
Let me just hop in here for 1 second, because we're breaking our show up into segments, and we're going to wrap this segment up. And feel free to stay on, David, and we're going to talk a little bit about the philosophy and structure of a community currency until 3 o'clock. But this has been the Livelihood News Hour. I'm Chris Hewitt. I'm here with our guest, Mariel Fiori. She's the publisher of La Voz magazine, lavos.bar. There's the La Voz radio. Here today with a David Kagan is the director. So we're going to wrap up this segment, and Mariel has a lot of awesome stuff with Radio Kingston and La host. We're actually going to stay on for 10 more minutes. And so if
Okay.
to continue watching, feel free. So Mariel just asked us a great question. She's a journalist, and I actually can talk community currency for hours. And Mariel's question was, how do we afford to have a 300 current line of credit, which we like to call a line of trust? It's interest free. And David just went into some of the details. I'll start by saying that the system is called a mutual credit system. We don't give people 300 currents. They have the potential to use that line of trust. So when they go below zero, they start using currents. I often say being in the negative is positive because it's the only way currents are created. If someone is willing to go below zero, that's how we're able to have convertibility, not part of the equation. There are no dollars involved in the current ecosystem. So it's independent of the national economy, and it's not beholden to the fluctuations of the national economy, as we're seeing now. And so, David, if you want to elaborate a little bit more on those lines of trust, and then Mariel, let's continue the conversation. David?
Okay.
Sure. I think one of the things that we're trying to do is not make the currency itself the center of what we're doing. The center of what we're doing is bringing people together. It's Satisfy Hunger. It's Livelihood Magazine. It's learning, sharing, and exchanging. And the current is just a way of exchanging, a way of bartering services. So I can get a magazine from you, and I could advertise in Lavos magazine, for example, and maybe you can order from the digital resilience market, or maybe you'd like to get a massage from someone. And the current is just a way of keeping track of that. And so the line of credit facilitates that, especially in the beginning. But after a while, as people are earning their own currents, they have their own balance, and then they've offered service to someone else, and then they're spending it where they'd like. So it's just a large barter exchange, and it's a way for us to, and it's interest free, so we don't have to worry so much about, oh, I've just incurred some debt, and then at night we're wondering, we wake up the next morning and we owe more money. That's not the way that we're doing it. And we're also trying to shift the narrative. We're saying, let's invent our own economy. Let's talk about what we want to talk about, what we feel is important, whether it's the environment, or local issues. So that's a little bit of what it is for me.
And Mariel, you've used your line of trust before by going below zero a little when you pay a writer. When I started Country Wisdom News, I had a lot of advertisers who wanted to barter with me. And so the IRS calls this a barter exchange because it's like barter, but better. Credits, and then I can use them in the future for graphic design, for food, for paying a writer, for example. I quickly realized with Country Wisdom News that 300 wasn't enough. So I requested from the board of directors a 1,500 current line of credit. The board looked at my ability to earn and spend and go above and below zero constantly, and they approved the 1,500. So some members actually can go further than 300. And that's why I mentioned the community protection plan.
Yeah.
Let's say you sign up and want to go to negative 10,000. That's okay. It's safe for the community because you're a 16-year-old organization that knows how to earn money, spend money in the community, hire local people. And so it's the community's trust in Lavos that allows you to go below zero. We don't give you 10,000 currents.
Mm-hmm.
We're changing the way we think about money and debt also.
Okay. Tell me about taxes. You have still to pay taxes on this.
Yes. Go ahead, David.
Yeah, so yes, we do. Of course, if you're a nonprofit, then it's the same issue. You don't pay taxes as a nonprofit, but you still register earnings. So with the current, it's earning with the current is exactly the same as earning with the dollar. And in fact, we have a comparison of one current to $1. And so at the end of the year, if you've earned 10 currents, it's the same as if you had earned $10, and you're just adding it to your tax returns in that way. You don't have to get involved in the whole issue of currents when you do your taxes. It doesn't make it you're not adding any kind of extra verbiage. You're just saying, oh, this was an additional 10. Instead of getting it as dollars, I got it as currents. And so you add it there. And it's taxable in the exact same way.
And the funny thing is, the IRS calls these units trade credits, and the Federal Reserve calls our dollars credits. Each one is worth one. And so to make a current worth about. But on a bigger example, David, 1,000, let's say, if I earn 1,000 currents, at the end of the year, I'll receive a 1099-B from the current organization, and the B stands for barter exchange. It says I earned 1,000 currents. But if over the year I spend it on paying someone, graphic design, printing, business expenses, and I get back to zero, I don't owe any income tax because those are all tax deductible business expenses. So I just keep track of it the same way I keep track of dollars, and we help as the administration by sending out the proper tax forms at the end of the year.
And I also receive currents for my work. So I receive a percentage of my pay is in currents, and there are withholdings made on those currents. And so at the end of the year, I receive my, what is it, W-2? Is that the W-2? And it shows the currents that I've earned, it shows the dollars that I've earned, it shows the withholdings, and all of that has been done during the year. So it's built into the system. It's accepted by the IRS as a perfectly legal form of trade. But it's also a way for us to support our local businesses and our local nonprofits, and to say, I would like to use currents because I know that those currents will continue to circulate in the Hudson Valley.
Sounds great. So who, apart from Lavos, who are your other partners in this? Well, maybe Lavos, this is not something I can decide. As I say, it's part of Barth College, but it's a great proposal. And we talk about, it seems like this interview was like a sales pitch or something, but I really like the idea. But tell me more about the other organizations that you think that they will sign up or sign up already on this.
Mm-hmm. Well, our goal is to get 10 nonprofits to use the 10,000 current line of trust at the same time, so that we can infuse 100,000 new currents into our economy. Because of a multiplier effect where they keep coming round and round, actually the first current that was spent in 2013 is still here in the mid-Hudson Valley. We can find it by using research and data. Everything we do is anonymous when we do data or research, but last year we created a study called analysis of the Hudson Valley Current that shows 6 years of flow of around 600,000 currents flowing through our community. And since then, I've learned so much about that study that we improved all of the things that we were, I think, needing to grow on. And now we're doing a new study called the Network Analysis of Kingston and the surrounding areas. It started on March 10th and it ends September 10th. So our goal is to get these currents flowing into our economy, studying it and its comparison with the dollar, because it's called a complementary currency, and the current will stabilize the dollar. So we're researching that now. We have about 2 minutes till we wrap up. And I just wanted to mention two of our sponsors. One is Saunderskill Farms in Accord, and you could check out Saunderskill Farms. Hey, it's Christy.
Hi.
You might want to check out Saunderskill Farms in Accord. They're one of our sponsors. They've been advertising with us since 2010. Also, Kenco Outfitters in Kingston. Check out Kenco online. They're an amazing store, my favorite store. And we have amazing advertisers like Augustine Nursery, and Radio Kingston has been a big supporter. We're turning our newspaper into a magazine in July, and so
Wow.
stay tuned for the new format. And we're just very excited about our changes and working with community partners like you, Mariel. And maybe I could be on your show again.
Of course, yeah, we need to do that. Sure, yep. I'm taking off next week, but then after that we'll do something. Yeah.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Thanks for being here with us today, and I hope to see you in the community soon and hug in a couple of weeks.